6-inch e-readers are weird. Most manufacturers have actually given up and navigated away from the screen size, but there are still brands that have at least one in their lineup, and this is iReaders, the Lite 3. The feature is not a whole lot on the inside because you can't install your own apps or even go on the internet via a web browser, but it is a decent all-around ebook reader for just reading books. So without further ado, let's check it out. Let's start off with the build. This is a gorgeous 6-inch device. My goodness, I'm loving it. It's white, but it's all the subtle things that really do make a difference. They have these beautiful beveled inserts that go down to the not flush screen and bezel, the sunken screen. The entire thing is matte. From the front to the back, you're going to feel zero fingerprints on this. None. There's not going to be any because it is 0% reflective. Not at all. And you can see we're catching light in the little pogo pins, which I also might add is a mystery to us because since 2019 they've had these pogo pins since the C6 and they've never told us what they do or sent us any accessories as to what goes on it. You do have a speaker on here as well to listen to audio. You have double microphones with a USB-C and you have a nice contrasting power button up top. I love it. I think iReader makes some really good stuff. I'm super happy they're all in English now, which we worked very hard on to get them to do. Now, there is a downside. This is an e-reader. It is Android, but it's an e-reader. So I say downside because there's no way to go online. There's no browser. There's no way to put in apps. You can sideload in your own content, but that's really where it ends because it's an ebook reader. There's nothing else you can do with it. It does have global refresh, it's got screenshot, smart assistant, and lock screen. Now something you lose on this are speed modes. And I believe the lack of speed modes, I mean, they really missed the mark on that. And they do have it on their other devices like the XS Pro, the Smart Line, etc. I would have liked to see it on here just because, you know, there's not a whole lot to this unit other than reading, and it would have been nice to have something to set it aside. Now they do have one thing that allows you to have a little bit of control, and that is what they actually innovated in a way early on, IMG256. You can see before and after. I recommend having it on because it doesn't come at a detriment to anything else. Toggle that on and you have now IMG256, which allows a better overall contrast, a wider gamut of grays that it can utilize. You can also go to general, and this has some various things. It does say leather case for page turn key. That's what the dongle takes advantage of, but as far as we've seen, it's never been delivered to us or even explained to us. You do have volume and you do have onboard audio, so that does help it in that degree. Now it does say application, but here you can't sideload in any applications. It's just what is here. You can long press to manage them, but they don't do anything except essentially freezing them. Reading settings is the final thing we'll look at. You have landscape mode where you can split the screen, book layout, information bar, word wide, which allows key knowledge points when you read, and it does do it by networking, so you need Wi-Fi for that to work, and that's basically it. Let us get into the bookshelf because we have to go here, go down to there, go file manager because nothing's going to show up in your actual bookcase. Here is where your things are going to show up. Recent books. From there, you can open a book. Now let's get to reading. They do have this kind of stolen from Onyx-esque floating ball, except it doesn't arch, it just kind of goes up and down and expands into a couple quick keys. I personally don't like it there. It's kind of invasive and intrusive, and it's just kind of always on the screen. I'd like it to go away, and you can turn it off. You can toggle it on or off, so you move it around as well, but I just personally don't like it on the screen. It's just a thing of mine. I like my e-reading experience to be about reading. This device isn't about anything else, so I don't want that there. I don't want it to give me quick keys to apps and stuff like that, because that's not what this is about. But I'll tell you, iReader screens are gorgeous. Yes, I know they're e-paper screens, but what I mean is that they make it in a way where they don't hinder the overall experience of it. And now their larger devices are 1300, Carta 1300, meaning that their units are now some of the best looking devices in the industry. So if you haven't heard about iReader by now, we've been covering these guys for forever and a day. I would definitely look into them. The reading experience is phenomenal. Looks great, performs well. No, there aren't any speed modes, but you don't need it because it's just there's so little in the way when it comes to reading. You do only have this one reading app, but luckily it all is in English for you now. So before, the actual elements on the unit were in Chinese, regardless of what you set your unit as. Now you do have a share card, and you can only share that with a few things like Baidu NetDisk, iCode, Evernote, etc. I'm actually glad they have Evernote, because that's really the only one we can take advantage of in the North American or international world, because no one uses Baidu and no one uses Youdao, or however you pronounce that. I've seen that all over the place. Nobody uses those, so Evernote is kind of a saving grace of this when it comes to additional functionality. Now let us look at some manga. Unfortunately, again, because this is only going to be as good as the manga you have initially, it's going to be formatted in such a way that's not going to be always that pretty. You can see the bezels are very huge around the border, and I'm not really a huge fan of that. You can pinch and zoom, in which case it honestly does it pretty good. Although there's no mini-map, it does it pretty quick, and it renders fairly instantly. So there's really not a whole lot of things that are negative about it. It is on the smaller side because it is a 6-inch and it has these huge borders, so you end up getting this little tic-tac container full of manga. But honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. I just wouldn't use this for PDF files. I'm not talking about the file format being in PDF. I mean, if you're reading medical charts and you say, how many CC do I need to give Mrs. Gunderson? Is that 70 or 700? I mean, that could be a life and death situation there. So if this is for your bread and butter or your education or your work, I would say don't use PDFs on this. Keep it for ebook reading and ebook reading only. You do have a music player as well, and we're going to start that right now and let you guys hear how good the speaker is at full volume. The last feature this has is the glow light, and that's pretty much where we're going to end it. It does have a brightness and a temperature dial as well, so you can make it kind of orange, you can make it kind of blue, and you can turn it off altogether. So it really does give you the choice to change it the way you want. The only thing I don't like about iReader's glow light approach are these stupid presets. I think they're absolutely unnecessary. They give you a custom dial. It's not like they're not allowing you to change it. They give you daytime, night, and quilt, which means nothing because they're just these arbitrary put together list of presets that you may not even like, and you can't change. You can't customize them to be what you want. You can't choose quilt to be full blast and then go back to quilt and it's full blast. It just goes to custom. So it's really just getting in the way, and it's just a convoluted approach to a very simple glow light, which is a good glow light. There's nothing wrong with the physical construction of it all. Gorgeous all-new construction, high contrast screen, and onboard audio makes this not only good, but a great e-reader. However, there's apps, but you can't install your own, there's no web browser, or even expandable storage. There's a lot really good and really bad about this device seemingly at the exact same time. Although if your goal is to read books and read books alone, then this is going to do the trick, and then some. Thanks for watching.